Alright, now time for articulation. Now, here at the head, it is plugged into the body on a ball joint, so we do have some pretty fair movement here. It's nothing like too spectacular, but we can look up about that bar, down about that bar, left and right, and can twist and turn, all that jazz. The jaw plugs into the the head on a hinge. But here's the weird part. I think it suffers from the same problem that my NECA Godzilla 2024 came with. The bootleg version, obviously, there's no real version. Please, NECA, get the license back. Anyway, um, you know, it it's loose. Like it was never this loose. Like this is the loosest joint I felt on a figure ever, as far as like the jaw's concerned. But when you have it like fully opened, it goes like that far out. You can get a little bit far, but comfortably where the membrane is, you want to get about that far open, that far closed. The neck actually has a bit of movement, so we can kind of like go down, up a little bit, side, side, a little tilt. I don't think I can get much range because of this little thing. I'd have to probably sand that down. Arms actually have a fair amount of movement despite being so small. The arms can move up about that bar, down about that bar. Can rotate pretty much all the way around. The elbows can actually straighten out, which thankfully the hinge works. Can actually close in and can actually rotate. And we do have swivel hinges for the wrists, so they can rotate all the way around while also being hinged, which I do believe that these were the first NECA Godzillas to utilize the swivel hinge combo as opposed to ball joints. But speaking of ball joints, we have a ball joint here at the waist. You can kind of get some rocker out of it side to side, but mostly it's going to be either a swivel or a pivot. It's not going to give you like much hunch, which is weird because Shin Godzilla loves to hunch. Here at the thighs, we do have a nice big ball joint here. I can go pretty much all the way around. I can kind of go in, kind of come out. For a bootleg, this is actually really good. The knee can actually extend that far out. Actually, wait. Yeah, I can extend that far out, come back that far in, and can rotate somewhat. And the ball joint at the foot can kind of get like a little bit of a pivot, like that, and can actually go all the way around. Now the tail. Here's actually an improvement over the original. It's that this tail actually does not flop. And I honestly think it's because of one, a harder plastic, and two, the tighter sockets. However, the tighter sockets came at a cost. We'll talk about that in just a sec. But here we have one, two, three. Come back to three pretty soon. Four and five ball joints at the tail. No, this is not a sixth. Not even on the bootleg is it a sixth. So, as you can tell, it is certainly a decently posable tail. We can go kind of rotate at all the segments. We can kind of flex it to this side, kind of come down if we really want to. But mostly it's going to be primarily in this stance. Now, why is it a bit of a problem that it's also so tight? Out of the box, well, there was no box. Well, out of the packaging, I should say, this was impossible for me to get in. I had to, even after using hot water, I still couldn't get this in. It took the combination of me doing the hot water trick 3 times, sanding it down to like get the socket to where it was like gonna fit at least to some degree, and boiling water, which I would never use on a figure unless if it's a last ditch effort, and finally got it on. And even then, it doesn't have much range. In fact, I'm kind of embarrassed to say that the Playmate Shin Godzilla V1 has more range than that, at the same exact peg, mind you. So, unfortunately, it doesn't have as much range as the Playmates one, but, I mean, say that be. So, overall, for posability, it's identical to the original. As in identical, they basically just stole everything. Although I do have some QC issues, it's nothing like overly dramatic. Now, next I want to go on to accessories, since I did mention this before, but I mentioned that the Shin Godzilla bootleg actually can use the Spitfire version of this guy's tail beam, since the original didn't have a peg hole, but the sculpt for this one, it's kind of hard to see, but actually does. It's right where my thumb is. Right there. And in the same exact spot on the bootleg, that's actually where it is as well. Come on, try to get that camera focus. There you go. So you can kind of see the hole. Here I have the tail beam accessory. If you want to know how you can tell, the tail beam is slightly shorter than the original, or the Spitfire is. And it can actually plug in. It doesn't plug in all the way, to be expected, but it does plug in. So if you wanted to use it, I mean, hey, the option is there. And just for a bit of size comparisons, because we just had him right on the shelf, here he is with the original NECA Shin Godzilla, but the Atomic Blast version. And as you can tell, there's a lot of similarities as far as the red and black wash goes. I'm honestly kind of surprised how well they compare. As far as like the teeth paint is concerned, that there's no competition. But everything else, like as far as the application goes, like the spines, the tail positioning and the articulation, the overall quality of the sculpt, it's actually kind of similar, like vastly similar. The only real sculpting thing that I see a major downgrade is the spines. These are kind of pointy, they're still rubbery, but these ones are a bit more smaller and dulled down. I mean, you can kind of obviously see it, but really no one would notice that until you pointed it out. So I'm very surprised as to how well these two compare. And for the next size comparison, here he is with the Playmate Shin Godzillas featuring V1 and V2. And ironically enough, all of them share the same spine mold. And I guess while we're here, let's like brush you off to the side. It's kind of weird to say that this one's official, this one's not. But then again, he's official in my heart. And quality wise, I have to say he's better than him. That's just how crummy of a figure overall this is, but he's official and he supported Toho when I bought it, I guess. And here he is with some other Shin Godzillas I have, with the Bandai Movie Monster Series Shin Godzilla and the Bandai Movie Monster Shin Godzilla Bootleg. Movie Monster Series Shin Godzilla Bootleg, that is. And now seeing it, the spines application are very similar. Smaller fins and blood red accents. They reuse the spines. And there he is with the previous figure acquisition, or my latest review prior to this one, the Godzilla 2024 Evolved NECA Bootleg, which, no, unfortunately this beam does not work with this Shin, but I mean, what's the point if you have the Spitfire, right? And here he is for the final size comparison between the NECA Godzilla 2014, still my all-time favorite figure in the entire collection, and the Godzilla 2004 Playmates from the Toho Classic Series the series, the 6-inch version, whatever. And so overall, what do I think of this figure? It's good. I'm honestly gonna say it's a good figure. That being said, is it good to support bootlegs? No. The only reason I got this was because I want to complete my NECA figure collection, but I gave up on trying to find a resale for the Shin Godzilla for an affordable price, and that's actually worth it. Because I am not going to pay almost Monster Arts level prices for a toy that was sold at Toys R Us, Targets, and Walmart back in 2016 to 2020. I refuse on so many levels. That was only $20, by the way. That being said, the bootleg still serves its purpose. It's actually really well sculpted because it uses the figure sculpt of another figure. It uses nice paint applications in most areas. They're really well applied. And I honestly gotta say, I got really, really amazingly excited for this one, because I don't think I've ever like seen a also I don't think I addressed this. There's no anywhere in the tail. Just the look, it's entirely sealed off. Like you can kind of see the three squares as to where the holes would have been. So I just want to get that out there. But anyways, back to the end. I was really excited to actually see this thing in person, even though it was a bootleg. And I honestly hope that I can snag down the '84, the 2001, maybe the bootlegs, and eventually the 2003 Tokyo Hyper Mesa Blast version, and I can finally end my NECA collection because I'm only 3 figures away. But that being said, I only recommend this to people that cannot find the Shin Godzilla figure for the original. Why? Because either way, your money's really not going to Toho or NECA regardless if you buy the bootleg or not, because they're not in retail anymore, and they are at the mercy of the aftermarket. And we all know eBay scalpers just love jacking those prices up. Like, I could take my mint condition NECA Godzilla 2003 and jack it up for like $150. Someone's gonna probably be that desperate to buy it. But no, I'm not that type of person. But anyways, moving back to Shin. Thank you guys for watching. I do recommend it if you guys don't have Shin. If you guys liked it, definitely subscribe to the channel. Believe in Jesus. Accept the Lord tips. Spread the gospel. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace, everyone. God bless.